My presentation is on the Asch conformity experiment. For introduction, the experiment was conducted in 1951 in Swarthmore College, Pennsylvania. This was done by Professor Solomon Asch, who decided to conduct this experiment not only to discover something new, but to use it as a wake-up call to society. The experiment was conducted to see whether people are affected by peer pressure, which is something that we see every day. People tend to follow the rules of a social group they belong to. This is the definition of conformity. Personally, it is interesting to see how pressure from a group leads people to conform even when they know the rest of the group is wrong. In the experiment, some students were in on it, meaning they were asked to choose the wrong answer to see if others would or wouldn't agree with them. The experiment. This experiment shows how humans can be pressured into unusual behavior, which was seen before in experiments such as the Stanford prison one. In the experiment, students were asked to choose, out of the lines to the right, which one was the longest. This experiment showed that having social support is important to fight conformity. Conformity tends to happen when more people are present, so in a group scenario, and when others are of higher social status and when the task is more difficult. For stats, 75% of the participants chose obvious wrong answers just because others did, so they conformed. 95% of those participants answered accurately when asked individually, so not in a group setting. Some feedback. After the experiment, students said that they chose to say the wrong answer because they didn't want to seem peculiar or dumb. Some said that they genuinely picked the wrong answer and thought it was correct. Some concerns of the experiment. After the experiment, many students said that they picked the wrong answer because they didn't want to seem dumb, making Asch's hypothesis correct. A limitation of the study, however, was that it used a biased sample. All participants were male and of the same age group, as opposed to having multiple participants, either female, older male, younger females, which would have altered the results. The experiment also used an artificial task that is not very realistic to the decisions made every day. So it's not every day that somebody's going to ask you which line is the longest. The experiment has low ecological value because the results cannot be compared to other aspects of life. For some personal justification. Up top we have enduring understanding, which means it's important to understand the topic and know about it in order to speak of it. On number 2, we have it's important to know/do. Familiarize yourself with the content in order to spread about it to the society. For number 3, worth being familiar with, it's just also important to know and research about this topic in order to see the aspects of society that could be an issue in the future. Finally, a quote from Solomon Asch. The tendency to conformity in our society is so strong that reasonably intelligent and well-meaning young people are willing to call white black. This is a matter of concern. It raises questions about our ways of education and about the values that guide our conduct. Credits. To review, let's play Kahoot. Thanks.